Hi, so today we're going to talk more about the root chakra. So perhaps you are familiar with the chakras, these energy centers throughout our body that were first discovered thousands and thousands of years ago in India. Or perhaps you're like, what is a chakra? If you think about everything is made up of energy, and the idea is that we have these life force energy centers throughout our body. And it's a great lens, whether you buy into the whole chakra thing or not, to really get to know yourself and explore what's going on. As you know, probably if you've been listening to me for a while, that the way I work with clients is through a holistic approach. So what does that mean? That means that there is a connection, our mental health and our body, our emotional body, our energetic body, all of those things are interconnected, interwoven. And so today we're going to talk about the root chakra. The root chakra is located at the base of the spine. And I'm going to give you a lot of information. So it's no quiz at the end, but as we go through this, I'm going to invite you to get curious about yourself, to say like, oh, okay, I feel really, grounded and safe and strong in this area. Or maybe there are some fears that are taking over, or this sense of insecurity and instability, because that's what the root chakra is all about. It's about our sense of safety, our sense of security, our sense of belonging. And so when we've had traumas or we've had hardships throughout our life, that can be one of those things that really rock our sense of belonging, rock our sense of stability, that sense of I'm okay, everything's all right. Plus, there's a lot of things going on in the world, so sometimes we really may not feel safe. So one of the ways that we can support ourselves is to have these practices that allow us to feel at home in our body, at home in our energetic system, and connect us to that sense of stability, safety. I'm going to be doing presentations or talks every day on each of the seven main chakras. And so you think about this as your foundation. And when we don't feel safe, right, safety and survival are kind of like the core essence, it affects everything in our life. And so just questioning, do I feel safe and grounded, or am I anxious a lot? And I'm going to go through this sheet and just bring in curiosity. Is this me? Does this resonate? So when we have a balanced root chakra, you are going to feel abundant, connected to, like, financially stable, going to feel energetic, settled into your body. They're satisfied with your career, right? How linked to our survival, for I think almost all of us, is our career, is our work. And so when things are underactive, or when there is not a lot of strong, balanced root chakra energy, we might feel like neglecting ourselves. We might feel poor discipline with boundaries, depression, passivity, like just we're not driving the car of our life. We're like in the back seat. Like we're just going wherever life takes us, with like not even checking in with ourselves if it's really in alignment. We might feel exhausted all the time, like this constant fear, like I hate change. I don't want to deal with change, right? That can be a sign that we're not really embracing life. And so when this is overactive, we might be overeating. We might be in a state of craving unhealthy foods. We might get paranoid. Again, that anxiousness, aggression. We can also like be in a hoarding state. So all this means, if we're experiencing overactivity or underactivity, is that it's an opportunity for healing. It's an opportunity to bring balance back to our life. So like I said, this is such a great filter to get to know ourselves, and not just in our emotional and mental space, but also in the physical space. Because physically, right, again, mind, body are connected. Now we know that in science. And so if we're dealing with constipation all the time, if we're dealing with lower back pain, issues in the legs, feet, knees, groin, hips, ankles, in the rectal area, frequent illness, right? These can be signs that we can look at, what is the emotional component of this? What is the energetic component of this? Let's say someone dealing with constipation. Are they living in survival mode and just scared, so that like the energy, the digestion of the body, everything's getting just kind of stuck and not processing. Again, I think with most things, it's multifaceted, right? It's not necessarily just one thing, but these are ways to start to look at, okay, how's everything connected and how can I best support myself? Maybe if you're dealing with leg issues ongoing, we can't really find the source of it. And you'd start tracing back, like, oh yeah, maybe you didn't just go and hike the Grand Canyon and you can't walk from that. But maybe it's like, where did this come from? We can also look at what's the emotional piece of this as well. What's the energetic piece? What's the mental piece? And how can we best support ourselves? So some practices to support the root chakra are grounding. I am a firm believer. I can't tell you how much this like helped me during the pandemic when I was working in ICU, not to just like break down. I would feel my feet on the ground. I'd take deep breaths. I'd remind myself I'm right here. I'm okay. Drop from the anxious, overthinking, spinning mind or the disassociation with the body, like somewhere else, totally disconnected from the body. We start to come back into the present moment. So for some, being in the body doesn't feel safe because perhaps you've experienced trauma. The body maybe, went through a lot. And so we can start to anchor into groundedness by a tree. If a tree feels like, okay, that feels strong and safe, or a huge rock or the grass, the beach, the sand, we can also anchor ourselves into the present moment, into a sense of like that firmness, that stability that way as well. If it doesn't feel safe to come back in, ground down into the body, that kind of thing. Deep, full, expansive breaths are going to be a way to help regulate the nervous system, activating that vagus nerve, activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Again, bringing our body back into a sense of, okay, it's okay to be here. Because when we're in survival mode, when we're, just on to the next thing, and that sympathetic nervous system has taken over, we're not in the space for healing. Hence why when there's an imbalance in the root chakra, when there's an imbalance in our sense of security, when there's an imbalance in our state of survival, we get sick. We know that stress lowers immunity. So, you're starting to see the connection here. So the deep, full, expansive breaths, breathing down into the belly, anything you can do to activate that vagus nerve and create that inner sense of healing, that inner sense of rest, digest. Again, you can see how constipation can be one of those symptoms of an out of balance root. And we're in survival mode. And for some people, it goes the opposite way as well. Our thinking is so powerful, but it's one thing to just like think happy thoughts, right? That we know that doesn't really do a whole lot. It's the energy and the belief and the embodiment of what we're thinking. So we're going to think negative thoughts. It's how we're wired. And the mind is really powerful, and the mind has an ability, again, everything is energy. The mind has an ability to bring us back into balance. So mindfulness, that first step, that loving, kind, curious awareness of, oh, okay, this is how I'm thinking. Like there's a lot of fear here. There is a lot of insecurity here. We start to get really curious with that, and we start to explore that, right? Because sometimes we take these worries that we have, this lack of feeling secure, as though it's a fact, as though it's a capital T truth, as though it's I don't even want to say the news, because we all know it depends what news channel you're watching, you're going to get different information, but we can take a thought as though it's a fact, or a fear as though it's like a capital T truth. And with mindfulness, we get off that automatic rat race. We get out of the trance and we say, okay, yeah, I'm really feeling a lot of fear that I'm not going to be able to maybe have the money to do what I want to do. And then we can start to acknowledge, for some of us, that's not really true. Like we do have the financial security. We actually do have a lot of talents and a lot of ways to generate that abundance. We can look around and say, oh, wow, we do live in a really abundant, beautiful beautiful universe. And for some of us, it may be that I don't really know where my next meal is coming from. And in this very moment, I'm here, I'm okay. I have been able to have enough meals to this point to sustain myself. And so we come back to the present, we come back to that sense of safety and security. But just noticing how the mind, because I don't want to say some people really don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And for most of us probably listening, we do know, but there can be that really deep, innate part of us wired for survival. We need it, we love it, and it could be out of control. And so we want to just notice, can I lean a little bit more into faith? Can I lean a little bit more into this sense of safety and security? Can I notice if my mind is bringing a sense of harmony and regulation, or are my thoughts just taking me on a freaking wild goose hunt? Goose chase? I don't know. Some kind of chase. You get what I'm saying? So other ways, you can wear the color red. That can be a way to connect you and remind you to stay anchored into that sense of safety. You can bring red things into your environment. I know when I was getting trained in Reiki, I would take the chakra and really do a deep dive into it. So I'd wear red. I'd really, take these root chakra practices. And I'll do the same thing if I'm feeling oof, that area out of my life is really struggling. And I'm going to get more into that. But if I'm feeling insecure, if I'm feeling really just out of balance, overly anxious, some of the practices I'll do, the grounding, the deep breathing. I do the EFT tapping to bring me back into my body, lower the cortisol, bring myself here. Hugging, getting in community, reminding myself I'm safe, looking around for evidence that in this moment, everything is okay. I am okay. Crystals, if you're into crystals, you could do bloodstone, garnet, ruby, red jasper. The element that is connected to the root chakra is going to be earth element. Sound is so healing and therapeutic when we're accessing sound in that way. And the sound for the root chakra is si or And so getting into that really deep, bowl kind of sound could be another way to bring that sense of safety and security. And you can look up binaural or solfeggio, I'm not saying it correctly, beats too that help support with that sense. Essential oils, basil, cedarwood, cilantro, myrrh, patchouli, vetiver, white fir. And I like to use the affirmations. I am safe. I am okay. I am here. I have everything that I need. I have enough. I am enough. So those practices, and not just, flying off the mouth and saying them, but really practicing feeling into them, the embodiment piece. There's yoga poses. So child's pose is a yoga pose that we could do to bring our self into a sense of groundedness, anchoredness. You could do mountain pose. There's a lot of other yoga poses as well. So feel free to ask any questions about the root chakra below. If you have any practices that help you feel grounded, whether it's getting out in your garden, maybe it's prayer, meditation, getting around snugglies, all those things that make you feel warm and cuddly and like you belong, whatever that is for you. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If this is sparking your interest and you're already this is something that I think would be supportive for me, really exploring myself in this kind of way and exploring practices to help bring my energy, bring my mind, bring my body into a state of harmony, into a state of balance. Then on Saturday, we have the Return to You, a chakra healing journey workshop, which is going to be a lot of somatic work. We're going to be doing breath work, which is the style of breath we're going to be doing really has a way to just get us out of just the thinking mind into the body, shift energy, shift emotion. Also has a really positive effect on the physical health as well. We're going to be doing EFT tapping, working through the chakras, the meditation, a Reiki circle. Or if you're maybe not local or you're not able to make it on Saturday, something else that I offer is Reiki energy healing. So it's a combination of really nurturing, loving, like the highest vibration of energy healing. And what is that? That's love, right? It's like opening yourself up to that state of really deep regenerative healing, unconditional love. And we work with the energy in your body, bringing everything back into harmony, back into balance. It's not a religious thing. It's actually the form of Reiki that I'm trained in is a Japanese form of healing, energy work, and relaxation. All right, y'all. So stay tuned. Tomorrow we're going to be exploring the sacral chakra. So I'll have some more information about that for you. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.